Good morning, everyone, and welcome to another Saturday morning of stamping. My name is Sarah Simon, and I'm coming to you from Appleton, Wisconsin, where it looks like it might want to rain, but it looks like it's also starting to finally clear up. We had rain last night. Um, Thank you all for joining me this morning. We have a one sheet wonder we're going to be doing today as a Mother's Day gift. Here's a little sneak peek of what you're going to get. So it's going to be a little box like this, and it's going to have 10 cards. There's only 5 cards in there right now because I had to take them out. I think, or how many cards are there? One, two, I think there's 6 cards in there right now. I had to take 6 of them out. Thank you guys all for joining me. Yes, happy Easter weekend to everyone. Oh my goodness. It seems like Easter is so late this year. I was talking to somebody the other day and I said, okay, we're trying to make all of our plans for what are we going to do for Easter. So it's just my brother and his family. Well, actually, only one of his kids is still at home. So it's their daughter and my sister-in-law, my brother, and my mom and dad, neither, the only ones that are in town. So the 6 of us are getting together and having a little celebration. I have to make some key lime pie a little bit later, and I'm making 2 of them because I told our parish pastor that I would bring him one as well. I said, "Do you like key lime pie?" He goes, "I love it." And I said, "I'll bring you one tomorrow for your family." So I've got that to do this afternoon. So where should we start? How about if I start with some happy mail? I received 2 Easter cards in the mail that are so adorable. I received this one. Look at how cute that is. I think that was a stamp set and die last year, maybe, or might have been a year ago before that. This is from Karen Roofing. So cute. And then I received this beautiful card with that storybook moments from Michelle Jones. And on the inside, it says Easter greetings. And then it says somebody loves you. And I loved what she wrote. She was wishing you an extra special day. So thank you both ladies for your beautiful cards. Let's see, I'm going to set those over there so I don't lose them. Let's see if I missed any comments that I need to answer people. I could say good morning to everyone. Let's see. Kim has oh no, finally catching. I thought she said family. I need to start wearing my cheaters. I found when I was watching my video back and I'm going like this and squinting at the comments. If I had my cheaters, I'd be able to read them, but I don't put them on. I don't really need them for stamping yet, just mainly for reading. So anyhow, we have some prizes to give away. Now, this last week, Stampin' Up! Went to their new rewards. So all of you, when you place an order, you get rewards starting with an order that's at least $20. So you get 10% of your order. So with $20, you get $2, and you can accumulate those for up to a year. You can use them on your next order if you want, or you can decide to just wait till maybe the next year's catalog comes out and you want to make a really, really big order. You could go ahead and have them all saved. Or when you're ready to do your Christmas cards and you know you need a whole bunch of cardstock and stuff, you go ahead and purchase them. So because of that, I don't really get a lot of the rewards. I used to, when I had a host code, I would get those rewards, and that's how I paid for my prizes. So I had to kind of rethink this because number one, shipping postage has gone up a lot. So to send all of this stuff is getting a little more expensive. And now I don't have the rewards. So the stuff isn't, I'm not really getting all of it for free. And so what I decided to do is for my people who comment and my people who share, one of you will get one of my cards, the other one will get the other card. And I do have actually 2 of these that I will give away. So each of you will get that next week. And then I will give like what I used to give for a share. That's what I'll give for somebody who places an order. I feel like I can financially support that. I can't be losing money by giving away prizes, right? I still have to at least be breaking even and stuff. So I felt like that was the fairest way to try to do that and still reward you for watching me. So that is what I decided to do. So, for prizes. So, last week we started our creative challenge. And so, a lot of you have entered already, but if you haven't, that has to be done by about 8 o'clock next week, Saturday morning, so that your name can get into the drawing, and I will be giving away the bundle of your choice. Now you might be saying, now do you pay for that? Not really, because I get rewards as well. And so I use some of those rewards for that. I just can't weekly be giving away something that big. I also usually order that and I send it to your house rather than having it come to me and then I'd have to pay that postage and then I have to pay postage again to send it to you. So that's kind of where that's coming from. Um, I have caught you live. I just missed one. Let's see, what did it say? Ah, first thing Sunday morning. Okay, so Sherry is in Australia, I think, right, Sherry? And so you're ready to go to bed. So you're going to catch me on Sunday morning, and that's awesome. Thanks for tuning in and letting us know that you were here. Okay, so last week we made a Mother's Day card. That was our first one that we made with that fun fold. So again, this has a little belly band. If you didn't watch it last week and you want to get in the creative challenge, all of the dimensions. Oh, look at this. I got some sort of a little piece of grass. Oh, you can't see that piece of grass on the back of it. So then it opens up like that and goes back in and you put the belly band back on. So all the dimensions are on my Facebook page. Also on the YouTube video from last week, I did end up, if you go into the description of the video, all of the dimensions are in there as well. You can email me if you are not on Facebook, and I would be happy to submit your picture. Just attach it in the email to me. And that's create with Sarah with an H at the end, llc@gmail.com. All right, so that is going to, for commenting, CC Haxton from South Carolina. And CC, I need your address. So if you could send an email to create with Sarah LLC at Gmail, or you could private message me on Facebook, and I will go ahead and get that in the mail to you. And then the second card that we made was with some of our new product. So this was an I appreciate you. And then when you slip it off, on the inside, it says thanks. So receiving this card, and I didn't decorate the envelope on live, but I did do it on the after I got off. That is going to go to one of the people who shared, and let's see, Cece's number was number 82. There were a lot of comments last week. Sharing is going to number 12, who was Robin Schulke. So Robin, I will get this off in the mail to you. And then for placing an order. So anytime you place an order at my store, you get entered into a drawing as well. And like I said, instead of giving away stamp sets and things like that, I'm going to give away more of what I gave away for those who shared in the past. So getting a spool of the faux velvet ribbon that's in fresh freesia, along with some starburst sequins, is number 3, Audra Schusler. So Audra, I will get this in the mail to you, and I'm going to set these over here. All prizes did go out. I don't think they went out on Monday like I said I was going to. I think they maybe went out on Wednesday. So if you won last week, make sure that you check your mailbox. I think it said everything was supposed to be delivered at the latest by today. So it's nice that all of you guys are congratulating each other. And for those of you that are jumping on, good morning. I haven't said hello to everybody. So we have a lot of cards. We're making 10 cards today. Now I have a lot of the stuff done already and a lot of the stuff stamped, so we can just be putting them together. But I wanted you to see all of the cards, and that way all 10 of them are made, and I have the gift to send off to the winners next week. So let's do this. Let me go ahead and change. I'm going to get rid of the winners here, and I'm going to put that with that. And we'll go ahead and switch to this. And I'm going to turn my overhead light off. Oh, God. It doesn't look too dark. I thought, oh my gosh, it's kind of looked stark, but I think it's okay. So we are going to be using, one of the things that I've been hearing a lot of people ask is, why in the world is Stampin' Up! keeping papers that have designer series paper that has colors in it that are retired. And one of them is this. This is the Wildly Flowering designer series paper. And the stamp set is on last chance, and the dies are on last chance, but the paper is not. The reason the paper is not is that it could go on last chance in November when they list the last chance in November. It's not probably not going to make it till the end because it's not in the catalog itself. But there are other colors in here. So I'm going to show you today. I'm not using any of the retiring colors. So I'm not using Wild Wheat and I'm not using Moody Mauve. Other colors that are in here are Mossy Meadow. This is Misty Moonlight, one of my faves. There's Crumb Cake, there's Basic White, and there's Early Espresso. And so those are the colors I'm going to focus on when I use this paper. So I don't have to have the Wild Wheat. I don't have to have the Moody Mauve to be able to use this. I could use white, I could use Misty Moonlight, and I could use Early Espresso when I use this paper. Okay, same thing here. I could use white and Early Espresso if I want to still use this paper. And not everybody gets rid of. Like as demonstrators, we tend to get rid of the things that I don't want to use something in a class that somebody can't buy. So I tend to get rid of my stuff and sell it, but not everybody does. So they realize that people, here's my list. I don't know if that's what I need for this. Oh my goodness. So the stamp set is Wildflower Designs, and it is on last chance. The stamp set is $22. The dies are normally 31. They're 10% off, so $27.90. And so you can see I've got a couple of the stamps out. This cuts out these beautiful layering. I guess those are hexagons because they've got 6 sides, right? And when I cut them out and I use it for something, I always throw whatever I have left. So it's got these little frames, it's got some solids. I just kind of throw them in here so I can look to see, is there anything I want to use in there for my card? Here I must be. Oh, Melanie, it's early where she is. Okay. And then I'm also for this one sheet wonder, I wanted to use something new as well. So I was looking at these 2 stamp sets. There's a glare there. And I'm like, I want to use one of these stamp sets. Now I'm going to show you the more messages because that's the one I didn't go with. I felt like this one fit my needs for Mother's Day cards better. Like there wasn't a sympathy in here. There was an always here for you, but there wasn't necessarily, I mean, I just felt like this had more of the things that I would use for giving a card away. So this is a single die or single stamp set. And then all of these, you run it through your machine once and it cuts all those words out into all of these little labels. So I kept it here because I'm like, I'm not going to waste these. I stamped them and I want to use this sometime. So I have all of these. If I need a label for something, I can just like, oh, that works perfect and pull it out of here. You could stamp these in black on white so that it's something that you could use with almost any card, and then just kind of put something in the background, like put a circle in the background in one of the colors of your cards. So you could also cut this apart if you wanted to. Okay, so if you wanted to, you could cut with a scissors, you could cut all of these out so that they're their own individual stamp. And then you could just line it up on here, but then you've got to kind of remember where they were and which one of the designs, unless you like cut these out and you put them in here and then put the stamp on top of it, however you wanted to do that. I just do it as one. And if I don't want to do the whole thing, then I just, like ink up this part and put it on a piece of paper and then cut it out with that. So, all right, I did decide on this one, the right words. Now I'm going to do something real quickly because last week at my stamp club, ladies were talking about, oh, I saw somebody do something and I never knew that that's how you could put your um, stamps together. So when you have these red rubbers, they come with the sticker and they come with the stamp. And if you want to use the sticker with the greeting, what I do is I peel this off and I make sure that I have the little white part and I have this, and I go ahead and I put it on my block like that. And somebody said, I never knew that that's the first thing you should do. I always just tried to line it up with the stamp. And I did for a really long time. I think that I've been doing it this way for several, I mean, probably 5 years. But for a long time, I would sit and try to take this off and line it up in there. Instead, I put it on a block, then I peel this off. And then you can kind of see the outline of the sticker. Can you see that outline of the sticker? And I line that up with the outline of the stamp to make sure that I have this the right way. I do. Okay, so I'm gonna look over the camera and line those up and push that down. And now I have this lined up a lot better than when I tried to do it just on the stickers. Okay, I'll do that again so you can see it. You're going to take your sticker with the label, press it on here, pull off these little things, and you take your pick tool with the pokey tool at the end. Kind of helps with pulling those off as well. I don't have any fancy nails, so I can usually get it with my own nails. Okay, and then I'm going to flip this over. And now this is on here a little bit crooked, but if I line it up on my stamp, I should be getting it straight. Okay, so now that's straight. So now if I wanted to line it up straight, I usually line it up along the bottom of my block, and now it looks a lot straighter on that side. Now what I do with this Kathy Miller taught me. I pull this off, and I pull this off back here. This is when I put labels on all of them. Sometimes I label them as I use the stamp set. So if you've ever purchased anything used from me, sometimes you'll see that the labels are still in there with stamps that don't have labels on. Now when I go to put these back, all I have to do is put them right in here. Let's see, this one goes right here, this way. Right, so that's how you can put those labels onto the stamps. So I know I shouldn't do this on a day when I'm already going to be making 10 cards, but I thought, gosh, I wonder if other people know how to put them together. So I thought I would take just a little bit of time to put these together. So you'll get to see all the other greetings. That first greeting, there's an inside and an outside that you can use for this stamp set. So we're going to do that. And then for the outside of our box, our little envelope, we're going to use the She's the Greatest again, like we did last week. All right, let's go ahead and get started. I took your suggestion and I did type up the dimensions. And what I'm going to do is before I start making, I'm going to put an overlay up on the screen, and it's going to have all the dimensions so you can take a screenshot. The other thing I'm going to do is, because I'm going to be making 6 different cards, 6 different cards? Yes, 6 different cards. I will go back, and in the description on YouTube, I will put a timestamp type thing. So I put where it is, and it'll be like you can click on it and it'll take you to card 3. So if you just needed to see how one card is made over again. Okay, so let me go away from here is how we're going to cut the DSP. So if you want to take a screenshot of that so that you have it, and then what I will do is I'll take that off. I'll go back to my comments so I can see your comments. Okay, Marsha, you're welcome. That's how I always do mine. And Yes, Diane said she's used it for years, and that is great. And Melissa said she struggles with those labels. I used to as well. Okay, so this is the paper that I decided to use, and it really doesn't, like when I look at it this way, oh, these are the right way. And then I look at it this way, and those are the right way. So it really doesn't have a directional. But if you had it directional, I would put whatever was directional in your paper this way. So our first cut is going to be at 4 inches. That's what the directions told us to do. So cut number 1 is going to be at 4 inches. And I'll kind of put this over to the side here underneath here so that you can see that again as I'm doing it. I also printed it for myself. All right. The second cut is going to be at 3 inches. And I got this, I found this one sheet wonder with Mary Nabe, Knabe. For the longest time, I thought it was Knabe, but it's the K is silent. I heard her say it. The next one's at 2. Um, and she's Stampin' Peace. And she does a one sheet wonder every month. And so I got this one from her. She did it months and months ago with a different designer paper. Then I'm going to go to 1 3/4 and cut that. And that leaves me with a 1 1/4 inch strip left over. Okay, about 1 1/4. Looks like it's 1 1/4. All right, good. And I'm keeping these in that order. Okay, then my first strip, so this is my 4-inch strip, I'm going to cut it in 3-inch increments. So I'm going to go to 3 inches, 3 inches again, 3 inches again, and then this one's left 3 inches. So that's going to be my strip 1. Every time I call it something strip 1, that's going to be. So I have 4 of them that are 3x4. Okay, then I'm going to take my strip 2, which was 3 inches, and I'm going to cut that at 4-inch increments. So I'm going to go to 4 inches and 4 inches, and then this one will be 4 inches. So I have 3 of them that are 4x3. Okay, so those are all the same, really. All right, then I'm going to take my 2-inch strip, because that was my cut 3, and I'm going to cut those at 1.5-inch increments. So I'm going to end up having 8 of them. Okay, so I'm going to go to 1.5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then there's my 8th one. Let me just make sure that that's 1.5. Sometimes if you didn't get all the way to the 1/2, I'm going to just trim that little bit off. If you didn't get all the way up to the line, it's just a little bit longer. Okay, so I've got 8 of those. That's going to be my pile number 3 for my strip 3. Then my strip 4, I'm going to cut it at 5 1/4 twice. That's going to leave me with 2 that are 5 1/4 by 1 3/4 and 1 that's at 1.5 by 1 3/4. So I'm going to go to 5 1/4. And I'm going to go to 5 1/4 again. Let me see here. I think I'm going to go this way. Okay, I wanted this. This is going to be my leftover piece, so I wanted that as my leftover piece that I'm going to actually be using. Okay, so that's my 4th strip. And then my 5th strip, I'm going to cut at 5 1/2 twice. So 5 1/2. And I'll do this way again, 5 1/2. And this is all I have left for a scrap. Otherwise, I'm using the whole piece of 12 by 12 paper. All right, so those are our cutting instructions. I'm going to get rid of this. All right, card number 1. Let's see. Okay, card number 1. Let me go here and show you that. So those are going to be what you need. We're going to make 2 of this first design. So if you wanted to take a screenshot, that is what you need for paper, and hopefully it'll all make sense when I pull this out. So I'm going to go ahead and hide this and go back to my comments again. Yes, Kathy, I love this paper as well. So I have everything cut, embossed. I have everything stamped. Oh, and anything that needs dimensionals, I put dimensionals on as well. So this will make it go a lot faster. So we have our card bases, which I said was the 8.5 by 5.5, scored at 4.25. I have an inside that's 4 by 5.25. And I have stamped on that. So the outside is going to say, I wish I had the right words for a time like this. And the inside says, but just know how much I love and care about you. And I stamped one of the images and just took my stamp and blend. This is the light midnight misty moonlight, and then the light mossy meadow, and just kind of added a little bit of color to that. All right. I have a 3.25 by 4.25. This is early espresso. That's going to be my cardstock layer. And then I took Misty Moonlight, and this is 2 by 5.5. And I embossed it with the Dashing Design, which is a last chance item, but it is still available and it's on sale for $9. I was going to bring that here to show you, but I forgot. Okay, so to put this card together, of course, you would stamp and put the inside in. But what we're going to do is we're going to set this 2-inch strip across the center. Oops, I should have showed you what DSP we're using for this one. We're going to use 2 pieces from our first stack. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and put this on here. And then I'm going to grab 2 pieces, 1, 2, from that first stack. All right, and then I'm going to go ahead and put this on here. So we're making 2 of this card. There's going to be 4 of them that you make 2 of, and then there's going to be 2 cards that are unique that you only make 1 of. It's just how the paper fell for this one sheet wonder. Okay, then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and adhere to one of those layers. So this was 3 by 4, and then the layer was 3.25 by 4.25. I'm going to actually, this is a lot faster for me usually. I'm putting the liquid glue on when I have it. Okay, and then these are just going to be adhered to the center. We've got that. And you can kind of look at the main flowers if you want to make sure that they're going in the correct direction. That's going to go there. And then I'm going to put these, and I actually even put the twine on so that you didn't have to wait and watch me tie those bows. I went ahead and added that right away. And then I'm going to take one of these, put dimensionals on it already, and I'm just going to set that along the side like that. Now you wouldn't have to, I did not, I'm going to let you know right now that I did not put any bling on any of these cards. The reason being is that I know for myself when I'm sending a card that I'm likely going to have to add extra postage because I like to add a lot of bling. The person that I'm giving to might not know that, and they might just go ahead and send them, and then uh-oh, I don't have enough postage, and people that they're sending them to are getting postage due notices. Okay, so there are our first 2 cards. Now, granted, I had a lot of the stamping. I did put these little bows because I find that my linen thread does not seem to cause there to have to be extra postage. And I only, instead of raising this up and raising that up and raising that up, I only raised one thing up on any card. I didn't raise more than that up on a card. Okay, so that is our card number one. It makes two. All right, card number two, let me give you so you can take a screenshot. While you're doing that, I'll get all of my supplies out for the next one. That last card was a 1 3/4 and a 2-inch circle punch. So I tried to do it so that you didn't have to do a ton of die cutting either, because that takes a little bit of time. All right, I'll go ahead and hide this and I'll come back to my comments. All right, so like it said, we've got a card base. This time my card base is Early Espresso, and this is going to be a fun fold. It measures 6 1/4 by 5 1/2, and I scored it at 4 1/4. I have an inside that is going to be, well, kind of an inside and outside. You see it at both. This is a crumb cake. Oh my goodness, I can't even think. This is a crumb cake, and it is 4 by 5 1/4. Again, I have a cardstock layer. This is Early Espresso. That's 3 1/4 by 4 1/4. And then I have a 4 by 3-inch piece that is, says a lot, that is basic white that's going to go on the inside. I did stamp the thanking of you on the, I think it's called Labels of Love, something like that. And then I cut it out with white. I cut it out with Early Espresso, cut it in the middle so that I could label it, and then just took a 1 and, I think that's a 1 3/4, or is it a 2? It's actually a 2-inch circle with the Misty Moonlight, just to get a little of the Misty Moonlight in there as well. And then just added a little bow to it. Okay, so for our DSP, I'm going to take the last two from the first one, and then I'm going to go to that fourth strip, which is this one right here, and I'm going to take these two longer ones. Okay, and I still have that little one there. These I'm actually going to flip over and use the other side. You don't have to, so if you don't have something that matches both sides, you don't have to do this, but I decided to flip it over and use the other side. So I'm going to go ahead and adhere this to that. Good morning, Kathy from Alberta, Canada. Thanks, Marcia. Trying to watch the comments, but also with doing 10 cards. Also trying to make sure that I kind of keep on task here a little bit as well. So I'm just adding that crumb cake layer to the inside. Now, if you wanted to, you could emboss this as well. I thought about it, but then for some reason I decided not to. I don't know why I decided not to, but I didn't do it. Okay, so that's going to go there. We've got that. I'm going to get my bone folder to burnish this a little bit better. Okay, and then we're going to layer this onto the Early Espresso. Here. And then this is going to go on to here so that it lifts up with the top. And so I'm going to put one strip there, and I'm going to put one strip there. And I'm going to try to center that as best I can. Okay, same thing here. I don't think it matters which way is the top and which way is the bottom. Like I said, they've got flowers kind of going in all different directions. So one there, and then center it. Okay, then I want this greeting on the inside. So what I like to do, make sure I have it going the right way since it's already stamped. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and center that on here so that there's an even border. And then I'm going to close it, make sure that it's straight, and then press it down. Okay, again, set it where I want it so it's the right direction. Flip it upside down, border it on here so that it's an even border. Close that down. That way the white won't show through. Okay, and then I did put these up on dimensionals on this one. Like I said, I prepped a lot of this. Yes, I will do that. Donna asked if I can set the finished card next to the directions. I can definitely do that. Okay, so there's the thinking of you. Let me get this out of here right now. And the other, whoops, the other thinking of you. Okay, so here's my finished card. Here were the directions. Hopefully that helps. So that's card number 2. Let's see, I can bring card number 1 in here. So there's card 2. Here was my card number 1. Since I didn't do that for the first one. There's card number 1 with the picture or the card and the directions. All right, card number 3. Let me give you that so that you have those. I'm sorry if I'm going too fast, Julie. I'm like, if I'm going to do 10 cards, I have to have as much of this made ahead of time as possible. This one might take a little bit longer, even though I'm making one, because we actually have to do some stamping on this one. So these are the directions for card number 3. Let me go back to my comments. So I have a card base this time of Misty Moonlight. It's 8.5 by 5.5. I scored it at 4 1/4. The inside is a 5 by 4, 4 by 5 1/4. I did stamp hoping the loss you feel right now will be eased by wonderful memories and one of these little flowers. Okay, so I do have the inside done already, so you didn't have to wait. Oh, good. Thanks, Julie. So that is done already. Then on the outside, I'm using crumb cake. That's 4 by 5 1/4. And we're actually going to stamp this. And I didn't want to stamp it ahead of time because I wanted to show you, you want to position it. And then what you want to do is you want to, if it doesn't work out, flip it over before you attach anything. Okay, I have a cardstock layer. Mine is white that measures 1 3/4 by 2. I have another one that measures 2 1/4 by 2.5 or 2.5 by 2 1/4. And then this is 2 3/4 by 2.5. Okay, so I just took the different colors that we had in there and cut different layers. And the DSP that I'm going to use is from that 4th strip. Since we used all the 1s, okay, and we started to use the 4s, I decided to jump to that one and grab that one next. So these are all just going to be layered on top of each other. 1, 2, 3. Put this on here. So notice that has a bigger border than this. That just adds a little bit to it. So you're seeing different. I wanted the blue to be the one that you see the most of. And then that's another 1/4 of an inch difference. And then I did stamp that flower that I stamped in here. I stamped on some crumb cake, and we're going to use that to add it to our card as well. Okay, so what we're going to do is I'm going to set this Oops. Lila's dreaming and barking in her sleep again at something. Oh my gosh, I have to tell you this morning. I don't know if I told you this last year. If you are friends with me on Facebook, I'm going to grab some Misty Moonlight ink. I'll tell you after I grab the stamp that we're going to do. Okay, so this stamp says forever loved, forever remembered. So this is a sympathy card. And I decided I wanted to do this in Misty Moonlight. So I'm kind of setting this so that there's an even border around those three sides, but I'm not adhering it down because if I make like if I rock my stamp and I end up getting a halo, um, I then I have to, and then if I have it already added down, then I have to try to pull it apart and everything else. So I'm inking this up really good. And I'm making sure, if you make sure that your ink pads are inked enough. Now my Misty Moonlight, after as much as I used it the last, since I put these together, it probably should be inked again. But if you don't push and rub, you don't get as much of the, I've got a little bit here, so I have to be careful of that. But I'm just going to center this. Okay, forever loved, forever remembered. Now, if you wanted to do it in early espresso, so it's a little bit darker, you could do that as well. It's entirely up to you and what you like, or whatever you have with your paper. Again, I'm going to put this down with just regular adhesive. Again, I wanted that to be like that. And I'm just going to pop this up. I think I popped that up on dimensionals. Let me take a look. No, yes, I did. Oh, I forgot to put a dimensional on it though. Thought I had all my dimensionals on that needed dimensionals, so I didn't have to check. Okay, and then the last thing that I'm gonna do, so I'm gonna kind of put this on an angle like that. The last thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take a little bit of our linen thread, and I see my scissors ribbon over here. Okay, so what I was telling you, my thanks, Patty, for reminding people to hit the like button. I appreciate that. Um, Last year, when I was doing my yard work in the spring, I came upon this really big nest. And it had, oh my gosh, I can't even remember. I can probably find the picture and repost it, but it had a boatload of duck eggs in it. And I thought that the mom had abandoned it because when I found it, of course, it was not there. But then that mama duck, oh my gosh, we had a really, really bad rainstorm, and I wanted to bring the nest and the mama duck into my house because it was raining and it was just so bad. And she sat out there the whole time with it's in the center of one of my bushes in my berm that's along like a busy street. So anyway, this morning she was sitting in the area where the nest was last year, and the male duck was like standing outside of the bush, kind of looking at her. So I don't know if she's planning to lay some eggs again in that bush because sometimes they say they go back. Yesterday morning, there were three ducks in my front. Now I'm going to just attach this to the front of the card. There were three ducks in my front yard. That's the other place is on the side of my house a little bit. And then when I went to church, I think it was when I went to church yesterday afternoon, there were five ducks, two males, three females on the side of my house. I'm like, I have a little retention pond in my backyard, so I get geese and ducks. So anyhow, this is our third card. Again, with Donna's suggestion, I will set the directions and the card right next to it. This one kind of needs something to pop up or do something because otherwise it's a little plain. Julie said, sure does sound like she's going to nest there again. I know. And then I have to keep Lila away from it because she'll shoo her away. And I got to keep, Lila doesn't usually go in that berm because she's got I've got invisible fence, and so she pretty close to there is where she could get shocked. So she usually doesn't go that way. All right, card number 4. Let me give you, so you can take a screenshot if you want. These are the dimensions for card number 4. All right. And so what we have is I have a card base of Misty Moonlight this time. And again, I did a white on the inside. That was white. That's 4 by 5 1/4. It says, I miss you already. And it has a little, the outside is going to say, I really don't like that you're leaving, but I hope you love where you're going. Whoops, I think I just froze up a little bit. Sometimes when people are texting me, even though I have it on do not disturb for like a second, and as that text message comes in or something's attached, it ends up doing that. So I apologize. Okay, so I only wanted to do one of these because this could be like somebody's retiring or somebody's leaving their job. It could be a card that you could give to somebody. Okay, so going back to the rest of it, I have a 4 by 5 1/4 that I did in crumb cake that I embossed in that cardstock layer. And then I have, this is Misty Moonlight again. It's 3 1/4 by 4 1/4. We're going to use one of these from stack number 2. So it doesn't really matter. You can decide whatever one you feel like you want to use. I might use this one because I'm putting it this way. And there's that little blue right there. So I think if I put that there, that blue is still going to show. So sometimes I just mess around. So this one's super easy. I'm just going to layer this. They're all pretty easy cards, but how nice that you're giving somebody 10 cards, right? And they all, I'm going to use liquid glue for the embossed layers. And you can have the envelopes in them. And so we've had kind of like a thinking of you that we did. We've had a sympathy. We had a, what was the second one? Oh, that was thinking of you. We had another one that says like, wish I had the right words. We had a sympathy. We're going to have a birthday. We're going to have a thank you. And now we have this one for somebody who might be leaving a job. So there's really great variety of cards. And I don't know, my mom is the one that always wants all my thinking of you and sympathy cards because she's at that age. I think I'm getting there too, though. Oh my goodness. She's that much. She's 23 years older than me. And I'm getting to the point where I've been using more sympathy cards than anything lately. I don't know why that is. I had been completely out of them. All right. So, and that's a card you want to have on hand so that you don't have to try to find time to make it when you find out that somebody died. So I did stamp off once and put that little flower very faintly in the back. And then this is just a double tied bow. And there's the inside. Okay, so there is our card number 4. Again, you just make one of these. Oh, someone going into the military. That is a great thing too, Donna. Good idea. All right, so that's our card number 4. Put that on my thing. I'll give you the dimensions. Card number 5, we are actually going to make 2 of these. So let me get those out. Oh, we're doing pretty good. We got 5 and 6 to do, and then we've got the envelope to make yet too. So we're doing okay though. I was like, I don't want to keep them here all morning making all these cards. Okay, I'll go ahead and hide that. Go back to my comments. Yes, Julie, I love the sentiments. It's my favorite. Okay, so for this one, I'm using Early Espresso card base. That's 8.5 by 5.5. Again, I did the inside with the happy birthday already, and I stamped one of those little flowers in blue in the corner. All right, so those are done. So that's our first 2. Then I have a layer of Misty Moonlight that's 3 1/4 by 4 1/4. And then I had crumb cake that I'm layering it, and I just did 1/8 of an inch difference on that. So there's just a little bit showing. And for this one, you're going to use these last two pieces that you have from I should say the second strip. Sorry, the first strip is gone already, but they're the same. And then I'm going to use these last from the fifth strip, the 5.5 by 1.25, and I'm going to use those this way as well. Okay, so what we have to do for this one is we're going to layer these first on our Misty Moonlight. Do this. I probably should have put a white thing down so you could see things better on my thing. And then we have this one. And then we're going to layer that on the crumb cake. Whoa. Have to ask my mom if she wants me to surprise her with a different pattern for Mother's Day or if she wants something different for Mother's Day. Showing my cards here. I'll probably do something like this for my sister-in-laws and my sister. I usually get them a little something for Mother's Day since they're the mothers of my nieces and nephews. All right, so I'm taking this strip. We're going to leave just like maybe 1/8 of an inch of the brown showing, and then we're just going to put this down from top to bottom. Like that. Do the same thing for the other one. So that's where you can use the other design. So I like to pick a paper that the designs go really well together, because then you can go ahead and instead of having to use all of the same design, you can mix and match it if you want a little bit. All right, and then this is going to go on here. And when I put this on, instead of centering it from end to end, I'm centering it from the end of the designer paper to the end of the card. Okay, so I'm kind of checking to see that those two parts have about the same amount. Looks like I have to change my blade. It looks like it's making the paper a little bit white there. I think I can, or maybe it's too sharp and it's, no. Sometimes if you take your bone folder, if it's too sharp, you can like ease that down a little bit. All right, again, I'm centering it between the edge of here and the edge of the card as best I can. Okay, now this one, I really couldn't do this ahead of time like I did that other bow. I'm going to grab some of my linen thread and I'm going to make a faux bow. Just going to put like a dot in the center there. Push that faux bow in. Faux bow. Okay, I'll trim it later. I'm going to take off the dimensionals of this. And we'll trim this a little. Okay, to someone we're celebrating every single day, happy birthday. All right, let's put a faux bow in behind that other circle. Linen thread because it's on a spool, and the baker's twine too can be a little bit curly. Oops, it's a little bit lower than I probably need it. Okay, we'll go like that. I'll trim it again at the end when I know how much I want to trim. Put that over it. Just trim a little bit off of that one. That's not quite as long as the other one. All right, so there is our 5th card. So we've got 8 done, right? Do you have something holding your twines? I just have it. I just have it on my bone folder, or not my bone maker right now. I just threw it on there so that I could easily grab it. Good question, Sherry. Yeah, I was just pulling it from there. I'm like, I'm just gonna set it there while I'm doing this. Okay, so that is our card number 5. And I'll give you the dimensions for card number 6. While I pull them out here, I'm going to be making 2 of these as well. All right, and we'll hide that and I'll come back to the comments. All right, so this one I have crumb cake, 8.5 by 5.5, scored at 4.25. This one's going to actually be one that goes this way. And I have a 4 by 5.25, and it says, "Thanks so much for thinking of me." And the outside is going to say, "You're so kind." So this will be a thank you. And then I have a Misty Moonlight layer. That's 4 by 5.25. That again, I embossed with that dashing design. It goes along with the whole suite of products. And then I have 3.25 by 4.25 again. And then I have 3 3/8 and 4 3/8 again. So this is kind of a repeat, and we're going to be using these last pieces that we have. And what I want to do is I want to make sure I have 4 of them that have some blue in it. If they don't have blue in it, I'm going to flip them the other way. Okay, that works perfect. I've got blue in these, and then these do not have it. What we're going to do is we're going to go like this and like that. Whoops, wrong way. Here we go. Like that. And like that. So these are just going to go on here like that and do the same thing here. Doesn't matter if you put where you put the blue and where you put the one with the flowers. Okay, they're just going to go on there like that. So I kind of fussy or kind of dry fit them ahead of time. I'm going to go ahead and stick that first one down. You do have plenty of room here. It's not like there's not a really big border or anything around them, so it is pretty easy to line them up. Sure it is, Sarah. There we go. This is the one that takes the longest to probably put it together because you just have to get these rectangles in there, and then this will go on here. And that's just a 1/16 of an inch bigger all the way around. And we'll put these down. So much for dry fitting, and I just kind of moved them all out of the way. Once you get a sense for how big the border has to be, it's pretty easy to do. Like once you do the one, I find that when I do swaps too, once I figure out about what size border do I need. Biggest thing for this one is making sure you're putting the adhesive on the right side of the DSP. I've done that before. Let's see, here's my other layer. Okay, and then we will put this down. Again, I like to use my liquid glue when I'm using an embossed layer, because then the sides don't come up and curl. All that glue gets in all those little uneven places because of the embossing. And I find that this sticks down a little bit better with dimensionals or liquid glue when you're putting. And there we go. And I thought about doing another flower and die cutting it out here for this last one, but then I chose to go with what we did for the birthday one and just doing a faux bow behind that circle, because I thought that looks just as good. And again, you could, if you're doing this, you could put dimensionals on more of these layers. Like I mentioned, if you're copying on late, because I'm giving this to people who aren't necessarily stampers, they don't realize that if you put gems on things, and if you put a lot of ribbon on things, and if you raise a lot of things up, you likely will have to pay just a little bit more for postage. And so they don't end up sending them and then hearing from people that they had to do postage due, because I'm finding more and more post offices are telling people that they have to pay extra postage. There's one here in the valley that does it all the time. I went to the post office in Appleton once. I think Tammy, I think you were on here, Tammy Litsky. I had sent Tammy a Christmas card, and I went to the post office and in Appleton, and they told me how much postage I had to put on it. I put that postage on it, and when she got it, it said postage due. Now, when she went to the post office in Kakana, they didn't make her pay it, but she had to go there to actually pay it, which is crazy, right? Oops, I didn't do that one long enough. All right. Let's see if I can make this just a little bit bigger. There we go. Tack that right in the middle. Go like this and pop that in there. Get that, just that little bit. That's not going to cause any extra postage. It shouldn't anyway, just putting that little bit in there. Okay, so Donna's suggestion, I can't forget, there's our card number 6. Okay, so that's what it looks like. Now we need to make our envelope. So I'll show you again. This is what it's going to look like. What, right? And the cards will go in there. So there's, what did we make? 6 cards? Yeah, so this comes open, so you do have to re-twine that. So when I saw this, so I saw this from Marcy Bierstecker or something like that is her name. I gotta add 3 to each side here. When she made it, she had the ribbon. She only had 8 cards in it. I have 10, but she had the ribbon going across here to hold it in place. I redesigned it and made it an 1/8 of an inch thicker. No, a 1/16 of an inch thicker on each side. So an 1/8 of an inch total, like in here. But I didn't want to run the ribbon all the way. Like, I didn't want to run it all the way through and have to try to find a little hole on this side and run it across the top. So I made these little things on the side that'll show you how to make those. So it held the cards in place. So you could really just take this, you could wrap a ribbon around it that way, or you can do what I did here where I ended up just putting a little hole there and putting your ribbon through there. That way when after they open it and look at the cards and they ooh and ah over your cards, they don't have to tie it back up if they don't want to, but make your ribbon long enough that they could tie it back up if they wanted to. And there's your little gift. Okay, so let's make this envelope. Oh, wow. So Joan said that she had a package that came postage due and the other person went to their post office and paid it there. That's good. Yeah, if I knew it, but sometimes they don't tell you, like the person you sent it to doesn't tell you that the postage was due, and then you find out like later, and it's like, oh, I'm so embarrassed, right? Okay, here are the dimensions for the little envelope. That's what I called it, an envelope folder, whatever you want to call it. All right, so if you want to take a screenshot, you can do that. I'm going to go ahead and hide it. What did Cheryl say? Great card holder. Okay. All right. A 12 spool thread rack hat would be great for twine on your desk. That would be great. Okay, so this is 8.5 by 11, so it's one sheet of paper. Now I redid this from what Marcy had done, and I think she had redone it from where she had found it from Karen Titus. So this was several years ago that she did this. So on the 11-inch side, I scored it at 4 7/8. Oh, this would be 4 7/8, and then 6 1/8. Okay, she did it by 5. So if you don't need as wide, if you only want to put like, I think she had 6 cards or 8 cards in, she scored it at 5 and she scored it at 6. I did 1/8 of an inch on this side and 1/8 of an inch more on the other side. So I scored it at 4 7/8 and 6 1/8. Then on the 8.5-inch side, I scored it where she did at 6, and then I scored it at 6 5/8. Now she did it at 6.5. I added an extra eighth because there's an extra eighth that I did here and here. Okay, so if you add 1/8 here, you have to add a 1/4 of an inch on the inside. That's a lot of math, I know. All right, then to do the little tabs on the side, these I cut at 1 7/8 by 2 inches. And then on the 2-inch side, this is where it gets a little tricky. So if you go to 3/4 of an inch and you back it up just one little mark on your trimmer, okay, that's a 16th. All right. So it would actually be 11/16. And people are going to look at it and say 11/16. So I just said 1/16. So one little line short of 3/4 of an inch. And I did that on both sides. Okay, that's going to be my little side. And I have 2 of those, one for each side. And that'll maybe make sense. And then for the decorations, I did 4 by 5 1/4 of the cardstock, and then 3 3/4 by 5. So I did have to have another piece, and you wouldn't have to do the same. You could do something that was just similar to it rather than having to do exactly the same. All right, then let's see here. So to make our envelope or a little folder thing, what you're going to do is on these 2 score lines right here, you're going to cut all the way up to the second score line. You're basically going to take this little middle piece out. All right, so we're going to take that middle piece out. Whoops, sorry about that. I think I just hit my camera. My color is like really doing weird things. I think I'm low light or something. I have my overhead light off because otherwise I get so many shadows. But for some reason, my light just seems really low today. I'm not sure why. Okay, that and that. So that's going to pop in there like that. And this and this. Now, if you had a quarter rounder and you wanted to round the corners, you could do that. If you wanted to take and put these in, oh, that won't work because you have to put these in there yet. Okay, so this is what mine looks like. I'm going to go ahead and decorate the front. Actually, let's back up the bus here. Let's match up these corners here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take, this is from our hole punch assortment. I'm going to take just the little, I think it said it's a quarter of an inch. Yeah, quarter of an inch hole punch. If you have just a punch, you could do that too. Like a handheld punch. I'm going to go up here. I don't want to go in too far, but I want to go in far enough that the ribbon doesn't break. Okay, I'm going to kind of guess where the center is there. Okay, so that those are kind of lined up when I go to tie my ribbon. All right, let's go ahead and decorate this real quick. I like to do it when it's still flat rather than when it has dimension. So this is going to go on here. I almost put it on the wrong thing. I needed to have those holes there, so I knew to keep this to the left of my hole. So I'm trying to get it sort of so that it has an even border. And again, we'll take our twine and we'll make a faux bow. I'm going to put this on here first before I. So if you've never watched me before, a faux bow is just making a loop and having the little edge hang off. I'm going to make the edge a little bigger and then making another one with the little tail, not actually putting a knot in, because if you put the knot in, it makes it a lot thicker. And then you just press that once you have your faux bow made, you just press it into some tape. This one's not a very good one because I don't have them even. So I'm just going to pull that so they're a little more even. And I didn't put the dimensions on this one. Dimensionals, I should say, not dimensions. Dimensionals. Let's see if I have some that I don't have to cut. Can you see I just cut out some of this is a 2 3/8 inch punch that I just cut some of the designer paper and used the blue part. So I'm going to have my cute little Mother's Day, Happy Mother's Day on the front of it to give away with it. And we'll trim this up. And on this one, if you wanted to put, this isn't going to go through the mail. So if you wanted to, Happy Easter, Michelle. If you wanted to put some gems on this, that's not going to go through the mail. So you could do that. All right. So what you want to do for this to hold this in place is you're going to take these, and I'm going to use my tear and tape. What time is it getting to be? Oh my gosh. It's 9:42. My little pop-up used sale for my mom's friend stamp set starts in like 15 minutes. If any of you are coming, if I don't answer the door, it's because I haven't finished yet. This did take a little bit longer, but look at what we did. We did 10 cards. It's just been a little over an hour, and I even talked at the beginning. I showed you how to put the stamps together, the red rubber stamps together to put the stickers on there. This is probably more adhesive than I need, but it's not going to fall apart, right? Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to peel off one side. And what I want to do is I want to put this scored edge along the edge of this piece right here and go right up to that score line. Okay, then I'm going to take off the other stuff, and we just want to corner this up, and we want to make it so that this score line right here matches up with this edge. So that height should be exactly the same with the measurements that I gave you so that you can match that up and then give it a good press. So we basically just created a little pocket here for those cards to set in. Now I didn't line that up perfectly. I'm going to just trim this a little bit. Problems with working around a camera. I'm trying to keep it on camera for you. Hopefully I did. I kind of pulled it a little bit towards me because this is one of those things where you want to get your head right in there and make sure you're lining it up. With a camera, you can't really do that. Okay, so again, I'm going to line this up so it's on the edge right up to that score line. Okay, so from this score line, and this is folded on that score line right along the edge. Then I'm going to pull these off. Take your pick tool, the little pokey tool end of it helps with that, getting it started. All right, now this is going to line up with that edge right there. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and line it up. When I have it lined up, I'm going to go ahead and press it. Okay, so that made my little pockets there so that I can take my cards, and I'm going to take, got envelopes here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 envelopes on each side. Okay, so see how you want to make sure that you've got it in enough. Okay, and I'm going to do one of those and one of those and 2 or 3, 4, 5, 6, one of each, 7, 8, 9. Decide which ones you want to have. If you want to have a different one on each side. 10. So I've got my 10 cards. I close it. Woohoo! And then I'm just going to take some ribbon so that it stays closed. And again, if you just want to run your ribbon around like this, you could also put it underneath that label, tape it underneath there. It's entirely up to you, but I'm like, I just basically want to close it for the gift reveal. I don't care if that stays on there or not. There's just that little hole that's there. It's kind of tiny. Just wanted to close it shut and didn't feel like I needed to keep the ribbon there all the time. Now, if you want to go back and watch Marcy, I think it's Marcy Biersecker or something like that. I have to look up her name. It starts with a B. She did this years ago. I can't even remember which paper she used. Okay. The other thing that I tried, but it didn't work. It wasn't sturdy enough. I tried putting magnets. I have really tiny little magnets, and I tried putting them like right here and right here, like if the magnets hit each other. And you can kind of see there is a magnet here and here and on the other side. It didn't hold it completely together like the ribbon did. So I decided it just needed that little bit of ribbon. Okay, so where are my directions again? Here we go. I did have to correct this one. It's correct on the sheet that I gave you. So here is my little envelope and with the directions. Joan had to leave too. I'm sorry, all of you guys are having to take off because it went a little long. Okay, so now guess what? These are my giveaways next week. One person will get it for commenting. One person will get it for sharing. How awesome is that, right? Because I have 2 of them made. These are exactly the same, but you could do, I think for the one that Mom, cover your ears. The one that I make for my mom, I'm probably going to use some of our new beautiful paper that just came out. Using 1 sheet of that. All it does is take 1 sheet of 12 by 12. Now, granted, you had a lot of cards that you had to cut, but really, I think if you focus, when I saw Mary, so Stampin' Peace, Mary Nabe, when I saw her do hers, she had Petal Pink, Lost Lagoon, and Pretty Peacock that she used for her colors. And then white. And so I'm like, I'm just going to pick 3 colors that are in here. So the 3 that I had were Misty Moonlight, Crumb Cake, and Early Espresso. And I'm just going to go ahead and pick the 3 colors and then mix and match those colors on all of my layers, my card bases, the different layers that I have, whatever works for the card that I'm using. All right, let's see here. Let me go ahead and come back to you. Oh, that light is horrible. Let's turn this one off. That's a little bit better. All right, so I hope that all of you guys have a happy Easter. I know some of you have said that to me, and if I missed you saying it, happy Easter if you're watching the replay. Next week, I'm not sure what time I'm going to be here. Okay, my goal is to be here at 8:30 like I normally do. With my new job that I'm going to be taking in June, they have an event for the youth where they're doing yard work around the village that is the churches in that I'm going to be working at. And I said to the youth minister who was in charge of it, I said, if you need an extra adult, just let me know. It'll give me a chance to get to know some of the kids if I'm doing it. That way, I at least know a few people coming in, right? Otherwise, all the kids are new to me. So if she ends up needing me, and if I end up doing that, and I think it's earlier than 8:30 that I would have to be there, or 9:30 that I would have to be there, then I will probably go sometime in the afternoon. But I'll let you know that. So anyhow, thanks, Angelique. Um, and spending, oh, yes, I did spend a little bit of extra time today. We've got 10 minutes before 10 o'clock. Oh my goodness, an hour and 20 minutes. Sorry that it took me so long, but you got 10 cards, a little carrying case for it. You learned how to put stamps together, and you got to see some new product and how you can use some of the stuff that's sticking around that has colors in it that we don't have anymore. So have a wonderful Easter. Watch for a message. Also, make sure that you get those that card challenge. If you want to get in that card challenge, make sure you post that picture on Facebook and go to Facebook and look at the things that people are posting. Holy cow, there are some really, really, really cute cards in there. You've got all the dimensions there, so you know what dimensions they used. You can easily remake those cards. So anyhow, thank you so much. Have a great Easter weekend. Kathy, I'm going to try to get over to your house this weekend because I have your cards from the last weekend. So, um, everyone have a great weekend, and I'll see you next weekend. Bye bye. Oh, Lila's here. And